Okay, here goes. All right. Welcome, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to the channel and the stream. My name is Eric Hackler. I'm a photographer, cinematographer, writer, director, and overall just storyteller in many forms. And today, as we do very often, we are going to be doing some live photo editing. We're going to be looking at mostly some black and white photos of downtown Richmond, Virginia from a couple weeks ago. And we're going to be just exploring composition, exploring framing, discussing black and white versus color, and it should be, should be fun. It was a lot of fun to take these photos, and it'll be a lot of fun to share them. So that's what we're gonna do. As always, comments, questions, thoughts, and are all absolutely welcome. This is as much of an educational platform as I can make it. I want to, if there's anything I can do to assist you in your storytelling or photographic journey, by all means, please. And if you have questions or comments about the photo I'm working on, if you think it'd be if you think of a cool way to edit it that I haven't thought of, by all means, please share that. But yeah, this is just, I want this to be as much of an open forum, an open platform as it can be given the format. Additionally, following up along those lines, if you are a creative, a photographer, a writer, ventriloquist, whatever you might do, whatever your art is, please feel free to drop that in the comments or in the chat so that we can boost you and share your awesome work as well. I do this for several reasons, the main couple being to pull the curtain back on post-processing. It's such a hugely important part of modern photography and of storytelling in general, and it often doesn't get the spotlight or the buzz that some of the other aspects do. So I do that for that reason. Or if you do get people explaining how they edit photos, it's often hidden behind a paywall, which I don't like. So we do it here for free. If you like this work, if you like what I'm doing, and you want to support me in some way, please, by all means, go to my website, erichackler.com/photography, where you can see my whole photo portfolio. You can go to my Etsy store. If you want to support me, that's the best way to do it, and just purchase a print or a canvas wrap or some of our postcards, which are cool and have some of the favorite locations around the U.S. on them, and have a QR code on the back so you can add them to a tracking map and see where all the postcards have gone. So if that's how you want to support, if you would like to support me in any way, that's the best way to do it. And with that said, let's jump on into to Lightroom here. Hey, kept that intro just about under 5 minutes. That's pretty good, I guess, including the pre-stream and stuff. Anyway, okay, so this photo has been edited, obviously. This is not the photo I need to edit, but it's one I want to start off talking about because I'm really fucking in love with it. So welcome to the channel. We're sweet tea breaks all the way. The stream ends when I run out of tea. But anyway, yes, this is a photo from the Richmond Canal Walk. There's a building with murals in it. I don't think I've got a better photo to kind of showcase what it looks like now. I think when I take photos, I tend to there's bunches of photos that I will take that are just kind of like me warming up to the area and kind of capturing it from several angles that are like, okay, these aren't, I'm still finding the spot. I'm still letting the location tell me what it's about. So this is a photo now that it's, once I've kind of discovered what speaks to me about this place, this is the photo I took. So I don't really have any other photos, at least not in Lightroom right now, that show the kind of angle of the whole place. But this is one of my favorite shots from that day. My favorite. I think I need to brighten that water up just a little bit. I got masks here. I'll just bring the blacks up. There we go. That's a little better. That's not quite, maybe a little bit. I'm on a little bit of edge, but I don't want to go not quite as dark like that. But hello, Stephanie. Yay, thank you for joining. Which I can also assume means Evelyn and Mia are joining. So Evelyn and Mia, welcome. I know what you did. But anyway, so this photo here is this one obviously I've already edited, and most of these photos are supposed to be in black and white, but this one just couldn't resist doing the black and white on the outside and then the murals on the inside. And what I was saying was the cool thing about this building is that it's part of the canal walk, and these murals I'm not sure how often, it's some number of months, artists are selected and they get to go in there and completely change out the murals. So they will select artists and they'll get a section of there that they paint over whatever was there, and then they can put their own work on it. So this is the second time I've been here, and it's completely different in terms of the artwork on the walls, and it's phenomenal. Hello, Shelby Lynn. Thank you for showing up and representing Texas. I know, unfortunately, we don't have a larger state for you to represent. I guess unless you wanted to teleport to Alaska, but I've got faith in you that all of Texas is pretty well off with you as their representative. Certainly better than many of the representatives they currently have in the District of Columbia. But anyway, so this photo. Anyway, this is the one I'm going to start and show off with, and now let's talk some more. Here's the black and white version. You know what? Let me sync these real quick. Let's click on that one. So that's the one I'm choosing. Synchronize, and I want to sync. Come on. Okay, let's see. Let's check none. Let's make sure. Let's see. I want to synchronize the crop, and I want to synchronize the lens corrections. I think that'll make the difference, just to get that framing the same. There we go. That's better. Cool. I like that. I might copy the masks over, but it's not what I want to start with today. That'll be an end of the processing thing. Also, to anyone who's watching, I've got a request for you while I start choosing photos and working on something. I know which one I'm going to start with. I'm going to start with this guy here, because I want to see if I can pull this back from the brink, and then if not, we've got other exposures of it. But this will be a good one just to start with some lines. Anyone watching, I have a request. Oh wow, that's doing nothing. This whole thing is clipped out. Okay, no, I take it back. There's a lot of detail I can pull in. Okay. I am working. I've been taking national park photos for a very long time, and I'm going to be. Oh, there we go. Now we're getting some detail in this guy. Oh, there we go. Haha, cool. Yeah, we're still not clipping out. This is why we shoot raw, by the way, people. This is because you can take a photo that starts off looking like that, and still be like, no, this is usable. And we're going to talk about all these photos being in black and white, which also comes into shooting raw. We'll talk about that in a second. Let's see. I need that to go away. Thank you. Okay, cool. But anyway, yeah. So I'm gonna be sending a bunch of my national park photos to some of the national parks, and every time I've tried to think about what photos I should send, my brain gets overwhelmed with anxiety and overwhelmed with imposter syndrome, and all of my photos are bad, and so on and so forth. So, if anyone feels moved and wants to throw some input and encouragement my way, like I said, my website's erichackler.com/photography. I've got galleries of national parks on my portfolio. If you feel like got some time, feel like throwing some assistance that way, I would absolutely love to have some feedback on which photos I could and should submit or send to the national parks and see, So anyway, been having kind of a down day regarding that. It's one of those things where you try to start thinking about reaching for something you feel like is above your station. Not that it is, but like it's that feeling of like I'm trying to to reach into a league that I'm not currently playing in, and trying to think that way. If you've got some anxiety, your brain's going to push back and say, you know what, maybe you're not good enough for a reason, and that's it's BS, but it still sits there, and it's been an anchor on my mood all day. So if anyone wants to share some opinions, that would be, and are feeling generous and have some free time and want to look at some pretty photos, I'd appreciate that. All right, so let's talk. Ooh, interesting flare there. I'm gonna keep these up. I'm actually really curious what this looks like in color. So interesting thing. So most DSLRs. I mean, I'm shooting with again, everything's a sweet tea break. I edit photos so that I can have breaks between sweet tea. That's what this is. This is a tea channel. So I'm shooting with a Canon 80D, which is it's a nice DSLR, but it's not mirrorless. It's not one of the the 7Ds that are kind of the Canon's top range DSLRs, or obviously their mirrorless full frame stuff. And mine has this feature, so that leads me to believe that most DSLRs of the same range or higher will have the same features. And it's a monochrome setting, or a black and white setting. And what it does, and this is very cool, is if you're shooting JPEGs, you set it to monochrome, it takes black and white JPEGs, and that's what you got. If you set it to RAW, it will display a monochrome picture in the background. When you open them up on your computer, like just on your photo viewer, it'll display it as black and white, but when you import it to Lightroom, it'll import in color. And you still have the color photo. And the raw file just, instead of it being baked in black and white, is black and white with let me do a select sky and see what I get. I'm curious if subject or sky is going to be the better masking here. But yeah, so you have you'll have it's not baked into the raw file, so that you can, that's pretty spot on actually. I like that a lot. Let's do another one and get subject. But yeah, so that's a neat little feature that you have, especially, I'm still experimenting. That's also quite good. All right, let's work on both of them. It's up the texture there. I want to let that building stand out nicely. It's interesting. If I dehaze it, if I brighten it up a little bit, it ends up looking a little more. It looks less severe. By brightening up, you don't have the. I'm loving that lens slide. I'm gonna play with that a little bit. Yeah, bring the shadows up a little bit to keep this thing from looking like a prison tower, even though it still kind of does, just with the high texture. Anyway, yeah, so like it's cool because if you are like I am, kind of experimenting with black and white is really good for composition. It's really good for framing, and if you don't have a photo that is specifically highlighting color, and I have a couple in here that I'm gonna do in color, and the color was what attracted me, and I still framed it in black and white. I think that's a little bit off center. Let's something like that. It's closer. Let's split the difference. -26. Nope. 0.26. That's better. Cool. So if you have a photo that is so like having the monochrome settings and knowing I can still have the color version in post has made things. It's interesting. It makes it when I'm out taking shots in the field, it makes it cool. It's a cool way to. That's chaotic in a really cool way. I'm gonna do another second version of this photo where I lean into that even harder. I'm just gonna do it like this for now. We're going to push up those highlights. We're going to pull down the whites. We're going to leave the whites kind of where they're. I'm going to push this right up to the limit of overexposing. Because we're not quite there. I'm going to turn the clipping mask on. And push this up until I hit there. Okay, there. Now I'm starting to hit it. Okay, so I set it to 0. Got a little bit. Let's pull it back. Just like that. Cool. And then shadows. Let's pull them down. Let's pull the blacks down as well. Let's get a little bit of that. Really highlighting this big blob of background white behind it that I really like. Texture. Yeah, texture up. This photo is better with texture. But yeah, so it's cool if you want to experiment with composition and with framing. It is cool to set your camera that way. And then, the other thing is that like if you're using a mirrorless camera, I believe mirrorless camera, because you can get the exact same thing on the viewfinder back here that you can get on the screen. You can set it to monochrome and see it black and white on both. On a camera like a DSLR that doesn't have that, you'll have the screen in black and white, but the viewfinder, you're still basically just looking straight through the lens. You'll see the world in color, and that's cool too. So you'll have setting your camera to monochrome. If you're shooting raw and have the option to pull in the raw file that you can then switch to color, it's a cool feature to have. Okay, let's do a second version of this. There we go. It's funny. I've been editing in Premiere as well lately, and Premiere has there's commands that I use fairly often. On here, it's Control or Command apostrophe gets you the second copy, and in Premiere, there's one I use for composition that's Command semicolon. So to remember which punctuation mark right next to each other I end up using. Okay, let's see. Now with this, we're going to dehaze the hell out of the photo. And then we're going to go to our masks here. We're going to pull it back. So keep this thing. I'm going to pull the texture back to normal. The question is, how much of this can I get? Yeah, where can I find the level of detail that I'm looking for? Clarity. Ooh, that's actually kind of cool. I don't know. I kind of want the tower to be part of the photo. Like it'd be very easy to. Why is increasing the highlights making it darker? That's strange. Let's reset this and just adjust from here. All right, turning the highlights up brightens a bit. Turning the whites up is going to brighten even more. There we go. Getting those little flares to pop in. A little bit of shadows coming in. Push the blacks up, but that's just going to end up brightening the whole thing. And I want to find this very abstract balance on this one. So we've got such a crazy darkness with the background. There we go. Turn that background mask off, or let me just reset it. Adjust. Now that I've played with dehaze, let's adjust here. Okay, cool. So I could dehaze it more. I could dehaze a little bit less. Let's give it a little bit, kind of almost a vignetting thing, so it gets darker surrounding this. Let's see. Highlights, yeah, let's bring those up. That makes this starker, gives it more of an aggressive comic book kind of look. Shadows does next to nothing. We're going to turn them down. Whites is going to be just, yeah, either blowing it out or turning it gray. I'm going to avoid that. And blacks, it's the same deal. I could use the blacks to brighten it up a little bit. Don't really need to. Texture. I like the texture, but it's giving me a bit of a halo around the building, and it's making it very obvious, and I don't love that. So let's just leave the texture where it is, and then clarity, same kind of deal. Honestly, pulling the clarity back just a bit has a nice impact. Am I black clipping it? Yes, good. I want to be clipping the blacks in a couple spots. Let's put this back at -7 where it was, and let's pull the blacks down. Put the shadows back and just pull the blacks down. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Let's turn that clipping mask on and just get it right to where it just kind of starts peeking in, just kind of like that. There we go. Got some real nice dark blacks. Let's do this at -15. Go a little brighter. Clipping mask back on. There we go. That's a couple of spots, and then we can. Adjusting the shadows isn't doing anything because the shadows are not a big enough change. And of course, we're not adjusting the mat we're just adjusting the sky. Yeah, it's good. Let's bring them up. And then going here, and now I can look at the clipping mask on here, and I can decide if I want to bring the blacks up and get rid of that. Which I think I could do. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it as is. There's something kind of cool about that. It's very, very bleak to me, and I like that. I'm gonna do this as a 4x5. Bring this up. Get some nice. Get the sky in there. Actually, take some of the sky down. This is a little bigger. It was 8.5 by 11, so that I can make it a little taller. And I can get, because I want that. You need the black around it to really get the sense of that splash of white coming in. So something like that, I think, looks good. Yeah. You know what? I'm going back to the original crop. Going back to this. I'm going to pull the bottom up just a touch. But that's the better version. That's the better version. Cool. And then the first version looks like this. So same kind of deal. Building looks a little bit bright right now. Let's bring that down just a touch. Just in the blacks. Cool. Done. And then out of curiosity, we'll look at this one in color. Okay, that's all right. Not a whole lot of change. The purples are a little hot, but that was intentional. This can have 3 stars. And then this one, out of curiosity, in color. Same kind of thing, just darker. In black and white, this photo's better. And this also can have 3 stars. All right, let's work our way around. Let's see where we're gonna go from here. Which ones have I done? Of course, they all have an editing note on them because I've been. Yeah, let's do this one. A little bit of a street light thing. Oh yeah, no, Mia, Evelyn, I know things. Specifically, door handle related things. I know. All right. So yeah, let's work on this photo, which is kind of a little cliche because everyone's sick of street lamps. But I kind of enjoy it. And the thing about this one is I love the layers of it. I love the layers. I love the kind of intricacies of the things. The lines going all different directions. We're gonna play with that. So I want to come down here to just. Let me zoom in here. Yeah. Just about, yeah, I want to, there's that roof down there. Let me put this up. Yeah, this roof right down here that I want to avoid because it's kind of, everything else kind of has some nice straight lines and squares or diagonals and stuff, and that roof's, yeah, we don't need triangles. We're going to stick with lines. So here's what we got. 100% is a bit much to zoom in and explore this photo, so we're going to go to 50. So yeah, so we've got these 2 power lines coming across in a good way, kind of matching up with the lines on the building. We got the sky up here. We got a little bit of cloud coming in to fill in that spot. We've got the vertical lines of the building, crisscrossing with the darker bridge, and then we got the street lamp in the foreground. Yep, I am a fan. All right, texture. We're gonna do individually once we start separating out details. Clarity, probably same thing. Honestly, I think we're gonna do like a couple different versions of this. Or not different versions, but this is gonna be I think 3 masks probably, maybe a 4th one for a tiny detail idea that I had. But let's just, okay, so highlights are good. And just out of curiosity, in color, this looks like that. So actually there probably is a good color version of this. We'll do 2. Shadows are just mostly that bridge, which is good in a couple other spots. Whites, it's the sky, obviously, and then blacks, it's the same deal. It's the bridge and the reflection of the sky in the windows. So great. All right, first question here is, if I tell it to select the subject, what does it give me? Let's find out. I'm hoping it gives me the lamppost. Perfect. Almost 90% spot on perfect. Yeah, just this extra little bit here that I can add with a brush. Add with a brush. We're going to go ahead and brush this stuff in. And this one, I so often say neatness doesn't count. On this one, it kind of does. The good news is I'm filling in stuff that's pretty much that's already been sort of filled in. So I'm not, like the outer lines have already kind of been drawn, so I'm mostly just filling in what's already there. But I do care about getting this neat and getting this right. So we're going to take my time. And I was trying to, one of the reasons I edited, just real quick as a peek, one of the reasons I edited this photo before and not on stream is because the masking job on this was a nightmare. If I pull this back to fit and give you the full view of it, give me a sec. And then look at these masks. Like the mask, like each of these masks has object after object after object, and it all layered together. So it's one of the reasons. It's the main reason I didn't. That I didn't edit that one on stream. And this one is easier. It's not nearly to that degree, but it is going to take some time to get exactly right, and I want to get it right, so we're going to take our time. Okay, let's pull this back. Let's get a little bit of that. Good. I'm going to zoom into 100% to lock in some of these details. But yeah. Okay, we hadn't gotten that section, but that's fairly easy to get with a brush if I just do this. And then kind of bring it down and just sort of do a lap around the edge. that in there. We got to get this section here, which is easy. There we go, just like that. Come down here. And a lot of this is not that it hasn't been selected, but it's been selected to a lighter degree because the subject selection is a little more, can be a little discerning when it comes to, it's not just, it's either 100% selected or it's not. It selects things on a spectrum and with gradients. So some of these things are like, okay, it's got a brush on it, but it's got the selection, but it's only 50%. And I kind of want most of this at 100. So we're going to take our time and get it right. And just clean up the AI. That looks good. Let's come up here to the top because I noticed. Oh, pretty much got both of the finials. All right. By the way, for anyone wondering, that's what the top of these things are called. Also, the symbols at the or the little things at the end of a flagpole, like at the very top above the flag. Either it's a it's a ball or a fleur de lis or a point or something. Those are called finials. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing and just kind of just in reverse and just sort of clean up the area around this. Here we go. And this actually matters a decent amount because not so much I'm going to be playing with light because we know, we've talked about this a lot on stream, that light, that masking, that light should, changing the lighting is the best way to see where the edges of a mask are. Changing color is the second best, and texture is the least noticeable way. And most of this is going to be texture based, but it's still, I might do a little bit with light, and I want to get it right. So we're going to zoom into here. I'm also impressed with just how not noisy this is. Like there's a little bit of grain in here, but there's not much. That makes me very happy. And there's always, I can always be more exact with this, and if you give me the time, I will. So let's do some of this, let's do some of this. There we go. Good. Let's come down here. There's another couple spots just kind of in between stuff that I want to clean out. And this is kind of where that, the AI mask doesn't select everything at 100% comes in handy because I'm cleaning. Right now I'm erasing the stuff that was probably at like 10%. There we go. Back to our add brush. I want to make sure I get all this nice and stable. I feel like that part of that wasn't quite as selected as it should have been. There we go. Couple extra spots there just to get that edge. There we go. Good. Okay, so that's our lamppost selected. Excellent. I'm going to rename this mask to lamp. Oop. Okay. New mask for the sky. Let's see what we get for that. We have 3 layers of this. That is pretty good. Caught a little bit of in the windows, but I don't hate that, honestly, as long as if it's adjusting. Okay, that's a balcony. That's why they didn't select as a window. Yeah, because if it's adjusting the sky, it adjusts the reflection of the sky in the windows. I'm cool with that. That's good. We're going to rename this to sky. And then we're going to go to our lamppost. We're going to do a duplicate and invert. So we get everything but the lamppost for the most part. And then we're going to subtract the sky, which will give us, and I got to come in with the subtract brush and clean up a little bit in here. Because like we said, some of these things are not, if it's not selected at 100%, if you invert it, it's going to be inverted at some percentage. So if it was at 60% here, now I got a 40% mask I got to clean up, but that's fine. A little bit of cleanup is good. It's a little meditative. Makes you pay attention to details, and we're a fan of that here on this channel. Okay, I actually got a decent amount of this. All right. You know what, out of curiosity, if I tell it to subtract the subject, is that going to do any? There we go. That helped. That just did a lot of the work for us. Excellent. Sometimes you got to do that. All right, where's that subtract brush again? Gonna move that up to the top, and then I can keep clearing this off. Come up and clean off the finial here. Just like that. Same thing with this one. It's not too bad. I might redo that. I don't love how that came out. Zoom in. This is one of the reasons, you know, like we talk about, I bring up a lot that photo editing doesn't get, their post-processing in general doesn't get the press that the final photographs, or like even shots being out in the field or videos being out in the field, like, hey, we're going to come out and take these photos, you know, it doesn't get that kind of recognition. I've talked about that. And one of the reasons, and like there's a lot of reasons for it, and part of that is just it's not as eye-catching, and part of that is just because it's, you know, everyone loves to see the locations and see people in the locations rather than look at them watch people edit on computers. But it is worth saying, let's clean some of this just a little bit. It's also worth saying that part of the reason you don't see a whole lot of photo editing videos like mine are because there's a lot of this. There's a lot of very slow. We're just gonna sit here and make small adjustments, bit by bit. And I know, photographers who mainly edit in Photoshop, and that is even more of a thing, more of a thing like this, because it's all layers and masks and, you know, selections and adjustments like that. So, yeah, it's a very slow process. I feel like a lot of people are scared of sharing trade secrets, which it's art, guys. Like, undo that because I came too far over. And this is why we should we should click and unclick as many times as we can. So if we have to undo something, we're only undoing a little bit, not a whole lot. But yeah, art and this goes back to pretty much any profession that requires human input, whether it's art or carpentry or whatever, and it's there's the idea of you're only as good as your tools is ridiculous. Having nice tools can help, but it's not the be-all end-all. And if you are the kind of artist who thinks that the only reason you can be successful is because you have a secret technique that nobody else has, you're doing yourself a disservice, because you're discounting the power of your brain. And you're shifting shifting the credit for the awesome art that you can create to programs or to tools or to little details, as opposed to trusting yourself that, someone else, everyone else in the world could know the same stuff you know and have the same equipment and techniques that you have, and they still won't create art the way you create art, and that's the important thing. Okay, I start adjusting these individually. A little bit of texture in the sky is a good idea. Clarity in the sky is great. Adding more detail to the sky, love it. Does that sky come all the way down? I feel like it should. I feel like I thought it did. It didn't. Oh, we missed a spot. Okay. Hey, sky, come on, we're gonna work on this. Wait, that's not sky, that's roof. That doesn't look like sky. That doesn't look like roof, it looks like sky. Okay, never mind. Sky did good job. Good job, sky. I'm gonna keep working on you. We're gonna work on roof. Alright, so skylights can stay where they are. Shadows. Yeah, I like bringing the shadows down, but ideally to the point that I'm avoiding a halo. Of course, I'm going to dehaze now, which is definitely going to give me a halo, but not too much. I'm good with that. Cool. All right, let's go to let's rename this to buildings. Buildings and background, and let's play with that a bit, because that's going to be our focus here. I got to find the balance. Brightening that up is good. I like brightening it up. brightening the shadows as well, because you've still got this dark line running through, and I'm happy about that. But it doesn't need to be. But if I brighten it up, you get some detail in that line, and that adds to the wonderful chaos of this photo. Like, it has a subject, but it's a subject in context, and that is essential, I think, to an intricate photograph, and that's what this is. Not every photograph needs to be intricate, but intricate photographs, I think, require context. Let's see. We've already brought the texture down. Can do that a little bit more, something like that. Cool. All right, let's come to our lamp itself. We can brighten that up, make that stand out even a little bit more. I'm gonna bring the shadows down though, because I want to have some nice contrast in it, because that'll keep it more distinct from the background while still being. Because like in this case, I could do a version of this where I brighten the buildings and stuff all the way up, and the lamppost is darker, or the other way around. I could darken the buildings down, the lamppost is bright. But with this photo, because it's got so much intricacy, I don't want to do that. I want to give everything its own lightness and darkness and have them all act in concert together, and this works really well for that. Which basically just means just different degrees of contrast and texture on each thing. Dehazing a little bit, I don't know. Nah, I think I'll leave that alone. I think I'll let that stay right where it is. I'll bring the texture back just a touch. Okay, cool. That is pretty good. Let's see. Couple of things I wanted to do. Let's go back to our building. I'm gonna put the texture back to 0. I'm gonna let that do its thing. I'm gonna go to the sky as well. Put its texture back where it was. That edge up there looks blurry, and I don't love it. I want to sharpen that up. Why is that? It's a little noisy in the sky. That's the thing I want to fix. Okay, so let's denoise that. Bring those blacks down a little bit. Again, just finding more contrast where I can. Yeah, something like that's looking decent. Zoom in. Yeah, cleaned up a good amount of the noise. Decent amount. I can be happy with that. Zoom out. Thank you. I do want to brighten up our lamppost a little. So let's bring those highlights up higher. Let's bring up the whites a little bit. Nice. Makes it stand out even better, which is great. There's one more mask I said I might want to do. Let me try it. If I come in and I want to get back to our lamppost here, so if I can get all this in one. Yeah, I can get all in one, pretty much all in one frame. That's good. Without having to reduce it to. Come on, there's the middle ground. Yeah, that'll work. Let's try. I want to try the object selection tool, but I want to do it as a brush. I want to see. What I'm trying to do is get these panes. Let's get the panes within the lamp that I can do something with. Let's see if that'll give me one of them. This is a weird ask for this one, so we'll see what it gives me. But in the past, it's been decent. See, that's pretty good. All right. Now I want to this mask, I want to add another object. And I want this pane. And I'm going to do two different masks here. One with the two brighter panes and one with the two darker ones. So like that. And it will detect. Oof. And what do we got? Okay, not bad. Needs a little bit of cleanup, so we're going to subtract with a brush. And we're going to zoom in 200%, come on over here, and we're just going to, using our subtract brush, brush out the bits of metalwork here that I don't necessarily want on affecting this. And this one's going to be light related, but because it's a little bit less of an issue, just by nature of the photo itself and by nature of the fact that this area is already is already kind of bright. I'm not too worried about the edges. It also, because it has nice clear edges. Oop, there's a little bit at the bottom down there, tiny little bit on there on the housing. There we go. Cool. While we're here, let's take a look at the other one. That one's decent. I'm gonna go ahead and subtract and erase this stuff here. I don't need to be affecting the buildings that you can sort of see. Yeah, I think, Stephanie, I think the buffering might be on my end. I keep getting notifications that, like, I'm dropping frames. That might just be an internet speed connection thing. Let's come to here. There we go. Let's get rid of this stuff. Just a little bit of cleaning up. There we go. Okay, yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, excellent. So we've got one. I'm going to rename this to... call this light panes. You know, just some light paint, just some, you know, entry-level BDSM. And then we'll do a new mask with objects, and we will get the other ones. Let's see what it gives me. And I want to do these differently so that I can, adjust the brightness of them differently each time. Again, adding to the contrast and letting the, because we've got this really, you can tell where the sun is. Like, the sun's clearly on this side. So, like, this is, that's pretty good. Needs a little cleanup, but not too much. Let's add the other one. Add object and fill this in. Well, yeah, you can tell what side the sun is on. You can tell there's, these panes are definitely brighter on one side than the other. And so just selecting them separately so that I can brighten and darken them selectively is excellent. Is a good, we are enhancing what is already part of the photo.